Today we're going over all the books I read in May. Hello and welcome. If this is your first time here, I'm Morgan. We might babble, but I think I'm going to try to keep it down. Mostly because some of these I don't remember. I don't know what to talk about them. They're just alright. The cat is currently trying to get a fly. She's playing with a fly. So you'll probably hear the jingling in the background. That was probably a horrible intro, but I don't know what words to say for it today. We're not wording, and that is not a good way to start a video, to say that we're not wording well today. But, oh yeah, my double use stat card. Okay. In May, somehow I read a total of 9 books. Yay me. I don't know. I don't know what we did because some of them weren't what we were supposed to. Don't knock that over, please. Of the 9 books, the different formats was 1 physical, like only 1 strictly physical, 3 just audio book, 3 just ebooks, and 2 that were a physical and audio mix. So I have a physical copy. And the stars breakdown, they were, it seems things were mostly middling, I guess. Because we had the 1 5-star read, the 1 4.5-star read, 3 4-star reads, 3 3.5, and 1 3-star read. And 1 that I didn't rate because it's a comic one and it was just a cutesy one. And it was supposed to be a mood booster, and it worked. Starting from the beginning of the month, we had Moon Touched, which by Elizabeth Biggs, which was a carryover from April. This was this was part of the lore quest, which I had kind of completely forgotten about and have not gone back since the thing about supposed to getting a picture of a sunset sunrise. But Moon Touched is about, what was her name? Araya, I think so, who is the daughter of the alpha of the Cancer Wolves pack, because this is the first in the Zodiac Wolves series, probably should have said that, where each of the wolf packs is named after a star sign. They have an affinity for a star sign. But being half human, she does not have the normal wolfy abilities, and in this world, the wolves, like inner wolf, is locked away until they are 22, and then it is unlocked by the sun witches, and they are able to transform. So she's shunned because she's half human, even though it's, completely her dad's fault. She's still shunned by the whole pack for that. At the convergence ceremony, I think, is where everything goes down, where at the 22-year-olds are supposed to be able to, have their wolves unlocked, and everything just goes wrong for Araya. There's apparently a 13th Zodiac wolves that have been shunned and banned from siding with the moon witches, and you're finding out things as the book goes along. It's a whole thing, and it was oddly fun. It was. Was it like amazing writing and stuff? No. But it was fun for what it is. If you don't want to take it too seriously, then you'll have way more fun with it. I promise. Next up was our buddy read for May, which was Lore of the Wilds by Annalise Sabara. I did the review video for this. I did the spoiler reading vlog for it as well, right? Was it spoiler? I think it was spoiler. This was only 3 stars, and that's kind of being generous. It is not the magic library we were pitched. I don't want to talk about it too much because, some people might still go and enjoy this. This is also the first romantasy box from Fairy Loot book, and it's just all disappointing. I didn't enjoy the fantasy aspects of it, because where was our magic? Where was our fantastical? Okay, sure, not all fantasy technically has to have magic, but that is kind of one of the staples. One of the staple-y things is magic in fantasy, and there is magic, but it's just how it works, we don't know. From there, I think it was because I hadn't filmed the review video yet, and that's why I didn't want to jump into my next big one. I listened to the audiobook for Finley Donovan Jumps the Gun by El Cosmino. This is the third one. It was fun, like all the other ones. It was 4 stars. There were bits that I didn't like as much in this one, like mostly with Vero, as she was just being too gung-ho about stuff, like she wasn't thinking stuff through or consequences. In this one though, we are following Finley and Vero as they are at the police's civilian academy, where they're teaching civilians a bit about the job and just how to protect themselves a little bit and stuff like that. Like they have gun training, a little bit of investigative training. So there was a lot of that, and so there's the tension with Nick, and her sister Georgia is there too. But at the same time, they're being pressured by Felix Giroff, to find out who Easy Clean is before Felix's trial date. And since they kind of suspect somebody there, they're trying to use all the things and time to investigate. From there then, I started Ashes of Man by Christopher Rocchio, book 5 in the Sun Eater series. I also did the review for this one. That does have a spoiler-filled reading vlog. The link is in the description and in the reviews for anybody who actually wants to. Please don't try to get in that. The Sun Eater, as we've talked about many times, is following Lord Hadrian Marlowe as he is recounting his exploits in life from when he first left his home planet of Delos, hundreds of years through traveling all over the galaxy, working for the Stolen Empire, fighting against our enemies, aliens, the Cielsen, and eventually becoming known as the Sun Eater, which you actually find out right in the beginning of the first book, first chapter, why he's known as the Sun Eater, because he literally destroys a star in the system and the whole enemy. But we're working up towards that. In this one, Hadrian is trying to overcome loss and grief and the trauma of everything that happened in book 4. So the action, I feel, is a little bit slower until certain things start to kick off, because he is grieving and he is dealing with this. And also that book 4 and 5 were split into 2 books when they used to be a one. I said it in the review. I'll say I feel slightly bad that I didn't feel as traumatized by the end of this one as I did by the book 4. But it is what it is. Still, it's an amazing series. It was still 5 stars. I don't know. Sometimes I almost want to say 4.5 because just a little bit, but 5. We're going with 5 this year. Another one then that lasted over from April, because technically I started this at the end of April, and finally I wrapped it up, would be King Solomon's Curse by Andy McDermott. I feel like they misnamed this one though. I really do. It wasn't quite a curse. This is book 13 in the Nina Wild and Chase Adventures, which started with archaeologist Nina Wild as her passion project and her parents' project had been to find the lost city of Atlantis, which is what we cover in book 1. And she is an archaeologist that turns myths and legends into fact as she is putting pieces together and finding all these things that are supposed to be hidden and lost and myths, pretty much. In this one, they start out at the first temple of Solomon in Israel, and quickly though they find a legend of something else. And when they travel there, they find this ancient artifact weapon, and it impacts present day Britain. While this was still slightly enjoyable, I don't know, maybe it's because it is 13 and it is kind of formulaic, I guess, but I also saw who the bad guy was from pretty much the beginning. I called it, and I didn't want it to be that person, but it was. And then the actual exploration archaeological bit, no, I feel like they used to take longer for us to find these lost sites, and yet it was like before page 200 we found it. I don't know. Do I keep going with the series? Does the series, I think he's at least got 2 more books in the series, I think. Do we keep going? I don't know. After a brief intermission for the yard debris limb truck, I don't know if everybody has that, where you could pile up like limbs and pine cones. Well, not everybody has pine cones for sure, but grass clippings, tree debris on the side of your yard, and they will pick it up. The next thing I read though was Milk and Mocha comic collection Our Little Happiness by Melanie C. This one was adorable. I read this because after those 2 books, I was just in a funk. I was sad. I still hear something. I really hope it's not picking up so much on camera, but okay. And this was just adorable. It follows 2 little bears, and they're just adorableness, and their little pet dinosaur. Dinosaur. I think he's a dinosaur. Oh my god, what is it? I'm gonna go back with dinosaur. So just highly adorable and cute and quick. And then I also listened to Veronica Ruiz Breaks the Bank by El Cosmino. This is a short prequel story following Vero before she's actually in Finley's employ. And this one, unfortunately, had a lot of the same problems with book 3 of how I felt for Vero But since this is a prequel, it actually makes more sense that she was acting like this before, because, you know, it would be younger, but I think it's possibly only like 2 years before the events of the book we're in, or before the events of the first book. I don't know, it wasn't a lot of smart moves. And Vera is a very smart person, but everything she was doing, I get the beginning, you know, she is on the run, she is scared, and then it's like she strategically thought out this was her plan, and yet it was just not smart. She was fighting a lady for her purse under a bathroom stall. And you're supposed to like work there. It's not smart at all. You need to be brushed again. There's so much hair right now. Fine. Okay. But we move on from that then to Hearts That Cut by Kika Hatsopoulos. I thought that this was going to be a trilogy. I don't know why. Maybe after the first book it said something, but it is another duology. This is a sequel to Threads That Bind that came in Fairy Loot last year, and I did the review video for that. I liked that we followed one thread of the mystery, because at the end of the first book there were two things that had came about, and one, she could have followed this to find out about her own family, and the other one was a greater thing for like the world in general. And I liked that we did follow the greater thing, and that the romance aspect for a YA was not huge. I mean, it hadn't been supremely huge in the first book either, but yeah, it wasn't. It's just, I think it was just not the right time, specifically after everything else that I had read. Like I said, I'd already been somewhat in a funk, and that's probably why it didn't hit with me better. And so it took a long time for me to get through this book. Like, really, I feel like it took a really long time, a whole week, just trying to make myself pick this book up and read it. Which I know a whole week's not like super long, but like I wasn't actually wanting to pick the book up is the bad thing. So I don't want to talk about it too much, because I don't want to put a negative light on it when I don't think it was bad. And its conclusion, being the conclusion of the series, I think that it did a really, really good job, because our main character, even though not everything is not perfect in the world and like things are still possibly completely falling apart, she is not, you know, the savior character. So that's not her job to save the whole world. And the book emphasized that. It's like, okay, this, you know, they're going to get through it, but this is Io's journey. This is her part. She doesn't have to keep going with that. We're not going to keep this series going and make her, you know, integral to this where she's not supposed to be. So I feel like that concluded in a really good way. And it drew together things from the first book, though some of it did seem odd. Because at one point in the first book, it seemed like it had said something and the timeline didn't quite match up, but then it was sort of explained later on that they didn't happen all at the same time. But why were they all here? I don't know. Something still was odd about that with the Fury born in the past. That timeline of why were they all in Alante. We're going to move on though. We're going to move on, even though there's not much left to move on to. My last one though was Dregs of Empire by Christopher Rocchio. It is a Sun Eater novella following Lorien Aristides. This one was a 4.5. I enjoyed it so much, except part of it made me super sad. And I'm still not resolved as to what he was told. Is it a lie? When does this take place? That's a big question. We know after the end of book 5, Lorien is being sent to the prison planet Belucia. And when he is awoken and when he is there though, I don't know when this is. I have no idea in the timeline, because they don't specifically tell Lorien how long he was on ice in his travels there. And after something happens on one of his first ventures out as part of like a salvage crew, and pretty much the whole crew is lost, they believe he's cursed, that it was his fault, and that he's maybe working with this other group of people, even though that makes no sense. But everyone there is, you know, not very bright. So he's put in great danger again and again as somebody keeps trying to kill him. Lots of somebodies keep trying to kill him. And Lorien does actually find something out and end up in a different place and gets to use his brain and kind of try to escape the planet. But all through this, he had been told of where Hadrian is and that Hadrian is not fighting anymore. And Lorien's like, why did I risk myself? Hadrian was supposed to be continuing the fight. I know he's going to grieve and try to recover from his trauma, but he's supposed to be, you know, going back to the fight. That's why I'm here. That's why I sacrificed myself, because I believe in Hadrian and what he is. And so somebody had told Lorien, though, that he isn't. And now he's got this doubt in his mind. And as, you know, the end of the book comes and wherever Lorien is ending up, I am really worried that he's still not believing in Hadrian. And now that I've started book 6, I'm like, oh goodness. Oh goodness. And I don't want what happened with Lorien to be like what happened with Switch. I really don't. Especially since he got his own novella. Those were all the books that I actually got read in May. There was another one that I started right at the end. I already finished it and did the review for that, but it counts for June. You'll notice I did not do The Witcher. I didn't even start it. Well, okay, I looked at the first page. And then I just kept prioritizing everything else above it. I don't know why. It's like I'm nervous to finish it, but now I'm nervous for the book I'm into. So it's just, yeah, a vicious cycle. I would love to know, though, how your May's wrapped up. Did you finish everything you wanted to? Is stuff rolling over to June, like with mine? I feel like I didn't describe any of the books very well in this one, but I really hope you guys enjoyed it anyway. You're having a great day finding something awesome to read. You'll subscribe if you haven't yet. And yeah, I'm starting Way of Kings soon, if you would like to read along with that one. And we have to decide on next month's buddy read soon. Okay, that's all for me today. I hope you're having an awesome day, finding something great to read, and I'll see you in the next one.